Thank you. Roll call. Chief Clerk. Amen.
Delegate Arnold,
Here.
Delegate Asher, Delegate Fossey,
Okay.
Delegate Cantero, Delegate Trio,
Morning, present.
morning. Delegate Fritz,
I'm here. Thank you.
Delegate Ashukuchi, Vice President Isananka Nariarte,
Hey. Right.
Delegate Canto,
I'm here.
Delegate Louis,
Amen.
Delegate Martin,
Amen.
Delegate Mori,
I'm here. Good morning.
Delegate Nabayan,
Here.
Delegate Naik,
Present, good morning.
Delegate Falsis,
Good morning, present.
Delegate Risson.
Morning. I'm here.
Thank you, morning. Delegate Simon, Delegate Samo,
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. I'm here.
thank you. Delegate Sigra,
Good morning.
morning. Delegate Susaya, Delegate Takasi, Floor Leader Yattelman,
Good morning. I'm here.
morning. President Kilian,
Thank you. I'm here.
thank you. Mr. President, 21 delegates are present.
Thank you very much, Chief Clerk. Therefore, we have a quorum that we can transact business. For the record, Delegate Susaya and Delegate Takeshi are excused. And also Chair Asher, Chairman Asher. Okay, we can now move on. Item 4, adoption of journal. Chief Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the journals of days 35, 36, and 37 with the date on the journal of 37 to be corrected to reflect June 15 instead of June 14.
Second. It's been seconded, it's been moved and seconded that the journal be adopted with the minor corrections as pointed out by floor leader. Great discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. So therefore, those such journals have been adopted with the minor changes, corrections. So moving on, item 5, communications. Chief Clerk,
None, Mr. President.
thank you. Item 6, unfinished business.
None also, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 7, reports of committees.
Yes, Mr. President, for reports of committees, we have a few of them, and the first one is on committee report number 4-11 on proposal or committee proposal number 4-03 from your Committee on Style and Arrangement for adoption.
Thank you. Floor leader.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt committee report 4-11 regarding proposals 4-03.
Any second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that the said committee report be adopted, 04-11. Discussion? If none, all those in favor of the motion for the adoption of this report say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Continuing on committee reports, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next committee report is on committee report number 4-15 from Concon proposal or committee proposal number 4-11 from your Committee on Government Structure and Functions for adoption.
Thank you, Chief. Floor leader.
Mr. President, I move that we
Recess is called for. to session. I'll go floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt committee report number 4-15 regarding proposal 4-11.
Second. Been moved and seconded that the said report 04-15 be adopted. Discussion. Just point of clarification, just on page 2, just to be sure, the second, the third paragraph, the small paragraph, just want to make sure that it's clear, where it says that small paragraph that starts with the 5-year residency, and then the second sentence after that is residency period should be measured from the day the individual files to be a candidate for this office. I don't think that is the intention here. Just because it says here to count the residency day 1. If we adopt this word, that means that that's already the beginning of this meeting the requirement of being a resident of that election district. Perhaps Chair Nabayan, do you have any, since this is your report, but you see that the wording of the sentence is in the report. You don't mean, Chair Nabayan, you're the mover, or you're the main person. So
Yeah, I
can you
changed the
clarify that?
committee meeting, but I did not, that was not the intent. That slipped through the screen.
Okay, so therefore shall be noted that there was an oversight on the committee. Therefore, that sentence needs to be either stricken out or modified.
Mr. President.
Yes.
What my good colleague is trying to say is, when you try to count the residency, when you file your paper, then you count from that period going back, and that's when you will decide whether it meets the requirement or not. Isn't that what you're trying to do? But maybe it's worded.
Yeah, maybe, that needs to be clarified, because although it's not really in the proposed amendment, but it's in the report. So for future references, make sure that that is clarified, right, Chairman?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that sentence is open to both interpretation, from the date of filing, forward or backward. And of course, logically, you cannot move it forward, you have to read it backwards. So I think that the sentence does not hurt. It's just setting the date for us to count the period of residency, but it doesn't say whether to count it forward or backward. But of course, logically, when you're thinking about it, you have to count it backward, because that is that would be the logical conclusion. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's clear. We can leave it to. Yeah, okay, so just to be clear, so it's moving backward, not forward. All right, it's like a car moving backward.
Mr. President,
Chairman.
just for the record, I think I heard the floor referred to proposal 4-70, but actually the committee proposal is actually 4-11, I believe. Okay, all right, okay.
Okay. Any more discussion on the shared report 04-15?
Mr. President, just a quick question.
Yes, Chairman Albert.
Yes, my question would be going back to the residency requirement. Say an individual is, say, sent to the Philippines for medical reasons and stayed there for about a year. Came back after he's cured or whatever, and he wanted to run for office. How would this apply to this requirement? Can I ask Camille?
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman Albert. Chairman Nabayan, you have any response to that?
I'll try, and the introducer can also help expound on the issue. The there are case laws on the issue of what is residency, or what constitutes the residency requirement in terms for purposes of election laws. And it does not require you to be physically present and living in the state where you locate every day. So long as you maintain your residence in that state, and you are away for work or medical treatment, so long as you do maintain a residency in that state, you still have residency in the state. So that would be the legal conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Nabayan, for that clarification. To Chairman Albert's query on that matter. Yes. Any other, Chairman Albert?
Maybe just one more follow-up.
Yes, go ahead.
Say I decide to go get my PhD and it will require me about 4 years. I'll be a resident of the U.S. And if I come back, how would that apply?
Chairman Nabayan.
Yeah, I think if you continue to do things like you will own a home, you will vote in the state when you're from, although you, let's say in the States, you continue to maintain your house, your residence, or your family back home, or you vote in the state, or you pay taxes in the state, you still have some connection to the state. I think you will establish residency.
Thank you. I just wanted this to be reflected in the record, so it is clear that that is our intention. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairman Albert. That is clarified based on the explanation by Chairman Nabayan. Yes, Vice Chair Samo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to ask or allude to the same thing that the good Delegate Albert just said. I think that I want to associate myself with that statement as well. That as long as it's understood that you go out, you do not establish residency elsewhere, that still qualifies as far as the intent of the report. So I just want to make that clear that I associate myself with that point with Delegate Albert.
If I may, Mr. President.
Thank you, Vice Chair Samo, for that further clarification. Yes, Chairman Nabayan.
Yeah, so we're not debating a new requirement under the Constitution. Presently, the requirement under the Constitution requires a candidate to have residency for at least 5 years in the state from which he is to be elected. So we're not delving into a new area here. The only thing that's happening here is that Delegate Cantos introduced the possibility of a candidate to maintain, to not necessarily have residency in the state from which is being elected. You can have residency, on the present language of the proposal, you can have residency in one of the only state in the FSM and run as a candidate in another state, which is probably defeats the original intent of the proposal. But it does not change the definition of residency within the context of the section. It's still there. Whether or not we pass this proposal, any candidate must have 5-year residency from the state from which he's being elected to run for office for that state. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabayan. So again, for clarification purposes, that requires that the person can only have one residency, cannot have two, otherwise it will cost that conflict. Thank you. Yes,
Thank you, Mr.
Delegate Cantero.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we've had some discussion over this this proposal some time back, and for me, I would still stick with my initial assessment that although the intention of this proposal is very good for us, I just don't. The question that I struggle to figure out or calculate is what is the problem with the status quo right now? Is there anything that needs to be fixed, or are we encountering problems that require a convention to fix? I mean, if it is a problem, I support this completely, but I don't think there's really paramount monumental problems with the current system that we have, and look, with all these uncertainties that we're debating on, perhaps status quo is something that could be considered. Also looking forward, I just want to repeat myself that while the proposal is good, it will definitely have an impact on how the other proposals are perceived during the time of voting. That we cannot ignore. It will have that impact. I like it. I think it's very honorable. But my opinion is maybe we're just digging too deep in trying to solve something that doesn't seem to have a problem with. Thank you.
Kanduro, Chairman Nabayan, do you have response to that? You okay?
Mr. President,
Delegate Kando first. Oh, you shall yield the floor to Chairman Parsis.
thank you, Delegate Kando. I believe when we discussed this proposal, one of the intents was to establish close relationship from the candidate with the people or his constituents, and to establish the close relationship, knowing full well, or at least to know what's happening in that respective state, so that we can provide good representation to the people. So, with that intent, I think it's healthy and it's worth looking into. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Parsis. Yes, Chairman Nabayan, and then, yes, go ahead, Chairman Nabayan.
Thank you. And this is something I discussed with the introducer, Delegate Kanto. My opinion, my personal view on this is that I like the attempt here to require that the citizen to run for Congress must be a citizen by birth, because that aligns it with the requirement for presidency. But my problem with this proposal is that I firmly believe that a candidate should be running for a state must be a resident of that state and that state only, and not any other state, because I think you need to know the environment of the locality that you're attempting to represent. So that is my concern with this proposal. If it was just, if the only change was citizenship by birth, that's it, and if there was no only attempted change, then I would be fully in support of this. So the way all residency of the Philippines Micronesia is problematic to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Nabayan. So in effect, you are not supporting the proposed amendment as Chairman.
The amendment was voted on in committee and it passed in committee. So I have a duty to report it out as Chairman.
Although you didn't really fully support it, but as Chairman, you're okay.
Mr. President.
Chairman, I would delegate. We are
recess? No? Okay.
You want to recess?
I hope you don't say that you're not supporting it, because that's kind of
Well, that's
going against my proposal. But I intended not to talk yet until this is passed, so that I can put in my amendment to clarify the purpose, the main purpose. I strongly believe that a leader of this country who will be a member of the Congress and can be a president or vice president must know the people, must love the people, so must reside somewhere in the FSM, must be a resident of the state that he or she is running from, but I don't care if he's staying in Yap, but he's permanent resident of Chuk or in Ponte, because I don't want to take away that from those who are working like for the national government. For those who are going to school, to finish up school, they are full residents of Ponte or Chuk. They just go out temporarily to get a degree. But those who establish residency somewhere else, and looking down the line, if the dual citizenship is passed, that will be a problem, because people will be just staying out there, born in the United States, raised in the United States, and then come back later, run for office, for Congress. If people are going out there to work, well, there are many employment opportunities in our country, but we're losing people. We don't have people. We're bringing in Filipinos, we're bringing in Fijians, because we don't have enough people. The educated people cut their degrees and then move on. Why? They're looking for the golden egg, the money. Now, staying out there for a long time, coming back to run for Congress. What for? The money. They don't come back to serve the people, to love the people, but for the money. That is the main reason why I introduced this. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Kando, for this elaboration.
Mr. President.
Chairman Nabayan first, unless you yield the floor.
I yield.
Yield the floor to Madam Chair Sikra. Go ahead, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm part of the committee that sits and listen and deliberate and considered. I sign off on this standing committee report. I support it. And I believe that even if we live within the FSM states, that's even better, For instance, if I am from Koshai and I come in and I live in Pohnpei or Chuk or Yap, then I get to learn more about the other states that I'm about to lead as a FSM leader. Because I'm not going to be a leader only for the Koshai state or only for the national government, understanding every citizens or residents of the 4 states. So I support this. If there is a problem, like Delegate Contreras saying, yes, there is a problem, and that's what we're trying to fix. We're trying to strengthen the current system, to restrict it as the proponent is explained it really well. We are limiting it to a pool of candidates that have some strong connection to not only the people, the land, and every corners of our islands here. So this is a good proposal, so I urge everyone to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Nabayan.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, so I agree with the intent that if you're in Paliki, for example, and you're from Yap, and you're in Paliki working for the national government, and you maintain residency in Yap, you should be able to run in Yap, to run for Congress to represent Yap. In fact, previous officials have done that. One of the former governors was a member working in Palaki, and he ran in the upstate election. And the interpretation of what a residency is allows him to run in Yap because he maintained the residency in Yap while he was staying in Pohnpei and working in Pohnpei. That's fine with me. But I firmly believe that it's important that if you're going to be living in Pohnpei and working in Pohnpei, you have to also maintain a connection to the state to which you are endeavoring to represent. And so that's the residency connection to the state. And so if the amendment, of course I understand the Delegate Canto has an amendment to make to the proposal if you move beyond the report to first reading on the proposal. And if that proposal, the proposed amendment requires that you have to have residency in the state from which you are to be elected, then I will support it. If it opens the door for you to be a resident of any state and run any state, that's where I have a hard problem with. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, the discussion shall be focusing on the report, because after which if it passed the word, and then the discussion on the proposed amendment, constitutional amendment.
Mr. President.
Yes, Vice Chair Louis.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And before I share, I would like to pay my respects to Isoko and Mr. President, all the honorable delegates of the convention. I am with the committee also, and I think I overlooked and didn't sign the standing committee report, but I fully support the intention of the proposal. We understand that in the existing provision, it does not limit the possibility of a candidate being only Micronesian by birth. There is a possibility of another avenue for some sort of people, not sort of people, I apologize, naturalized citizens to be able to run for Congress. So that's the reason why I fully support the proposed amendment, so that it can limit the pool of candidates for our Congress, which is an important office for our nation. And it also indicates in that pool the number of the kind of people who are by birth and are residing have a residence for at least 5 years. So that's the reason why I completely support the proposal, because it focuses on only the people of Micronesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Louis. Should be for the record, you signed the report unless somebody signed it for you, but your signature is here. You said you didn't sign, so you got me worried that you said you didn't sign, so there's some signature here. Thank you.
I move for the previous question.
It's been moved and seconded that we stop debate on the. All those in favor of the motion to stop debate? Was it seconded? Yes. All those in favor of the motion to stop debate, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Therefore, we're now on the main motion to adopt the said report, 04-15. Sorry. Let's move on the vote. All those in favor on the said report, raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed for the adoption of the said report, 04-15, raise your hand. Okay. Shall be noted. Chief Clerk, what's the tally?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the actual show of events, we have 14 delegates in favor of the motion and none against.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Therefore, the motion for the adoption of the said report 04-15 is hereby adopted. Passed. Thank you. Moving on, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next report is number 16 on council proposal number 4 from your Committee on Government Structure and Functions for adoption.
Mr. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt committee report number 4-16 regarding proposal 4-12.
Second. And second. It's been moved and seconded that the said committee report number 04-16 be adopted. Discussion. No discussion. We can vote on it. All those in favor of the said report, raise your hand. Right hand. Tally. Thank you. All those opposed, raise your hand. Yes, Clerk, Chief Clerk, what's the tally? Chief Clerk, what's the result of the voting on the said report?
Mr. President, with the actual show of events, we have 10 delegates in favor of the motion and 1 against.
Therefore, the motion carried for the adoption of the said committee report. Thank you. Moving on, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next report under item number 7 is committee report number 4-17 on committee proposal number 4-13 from your Committee on Public Finance and Revenue for adoption.
Thank you. Mr. Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt committee report number 4-17 regarding proposal 4-13.
It's been moved and seconded that committee report number 04-17 be adopted. Discussion? No discussion?
Yes, question.
Yes,
Yes,
Vice Chairman Louis. Let's vote on the motion for the adoption. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Vote. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All those opposed, say no. Say raise your hand. Sorry. Okay, none. No. Okay, Chief Clerk, read the tally.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the actual show of events, we have a total of 13 delegates in favor of the motion and none against.
Thank you. So therefore, the motion carried for the adoption of the said report 04-17. Thank you. Moving on, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next report under reports of committees is on committee report number 4-18 from CONCON or committee proposal number 4-06 CCD1 from your Committee on Style and Arrangement for adoption.
Thank you, Ms. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt committee report number 4-18 regarding proposal 4-06.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the said report 04-18 be adopted. Discussion? If none, let's vote. All those in favor of the adoption of the said report 04-18, raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed, raise your hand. Chief Clerk, read the tally.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the actual show of hands, we have a total of 16 delegates in favor of the motion and none against.
Thank you. Therefore, the said motion for the adoption of the said report 04-18. Thank you.
Recess.
I call for a short recess. Want to go taking votes on the shared reports and as discussed earlier, so just to be clarified that all the said reports were adopted by voting of delegates. Yes. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Pro Leader.
I move to inform committee proposal for the 70 from the Committee on Public Finance and Revenue to be placed on today's calendar.
Any second to the motion?
It's already placed because of the fact that we adopted the report, so you move for passage on first reading. What?
No, no. I declare shortages. This is a different we're back to session, Mr. Floor Leader. Sorry. Oh,
Mr. President,
yes,
I move that this convention pass committee proposal number 4-13 on first reading.
Second.
That's the revenue sharing measure.
declare services. we're still on committee reports, and Chairman Simon, do you have any?
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Mr. President. As the chairperson of the Committee on Style and Arrangement, I hereby make a Rule 28 motion to withdraw Standing Committee Report 4-19 and place it on today's calendar under section or item 7.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the said committee report number 04-19 to withdraw from the committee and be placed on today's calendar, the said report pertaining to proposal number 04-09. Discussion. Okay, if no other discussion, let's vote on the motion for the withdrawal of the said report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. So motion carried. So the said report is now in front of us, is placed on today's calendar, therefore we will have it. Chairman Simon?
Thank you. The proponent of the proposal had made, I think the committee had made a very good report from the committee that worked on this proposal, and I understand that some of us may want 24 hours at least before we take it down to further discussions, but as that we adopt the motion, I move to we adopt the report.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the said report 04-19 be adopted.
Mr. President, to be proper, I move to suspend the relevant rules that requires 24 hours before a report can be considered.
Any second? Okay, before we take action on that, we have a motion to suspend the relevant rules pertaining the advance production of reports, and it was seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Also, both say nay. So motion carried. Therefore, we have done away with any obstacles that may obstruct us from doing the report, reviewing the report. Okay, we have that said report, and that was moved and seconded that we adopt the said report. Okay,
I move for previous question, Mr. President.
I seconded the motion. It's been moved and seconded that we start debate on those. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So motion carried. So we stop debate. Now we have to vote on the main motion for the adoption of the said report 04-19. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So motion carried. So the said report 04-19 is hereby adopted. So it is noted on today's calendar. Okay,
Mr. President,
go ahead.
yes, I move that I move to withdraw committee proposal 4-70 from committee and place it on today's calendar.
It's been moved and seconded that the said committee, proposal 04-70 be withdrawn from the Committee on Public Finance and Revenue. All those, any discussion? None. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried. So the motion is, yes. Word division. Let's have a short recess. Someone can. Now we're going back to session. A while ago, we're taking vote on the motion by my good floor leader to withdraw the SIT. Proposal 04-7D. And we're taking a vote, and division is called for. So let's vote by show of hands. All those in favor of the motion for the withdrawal of to set proposal 04-7D, raise your hand. The motion to withdraw proposal 04-7D, that's pertaining to trust fund. So, raise your hand. All those opposed, say, raise your hand. All those don't support the withdrawal, raise your hand. Okay, let's go back. All those in favor of the motion to withdraw committee proposal number 04-70 pertaining to trust fund, raise your hand. Including those. All, okay, it's clear. All those opposed, raise your hand. Chief Clerk, tally.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the actual show of events, we have a total of 5 delegates in favor of the motion and 10 against.
Okay, so the motion is failed, so consent carry. So we still have that pending somewhere. Okay, moving on, item 8, since we have disposed of all the committee reports and the other one. Item 8, first reading of committee proposals. Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the adoption of the reports, we now have committee proposal number 4-11 attached to Standing Committee Report 4-15 from your Committee on Government Structure and Functions for first reading.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt committee proposal 4-11.
Second. Can we review?
The motion is to pass on passage on first reading. And it was, there's
Second.
it's been moved and seconded that the said proposal, committee proposal number 04-03.
Mr. President, can we hear the title of the proposal?
7, sorry. Yes. Chief Clerk, can you read the title, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee proposal number 4-11 is a proposal to amend Article 9, Section 9 of the Constitution of the Federated States of Micronesia to create consistency between the eligibility requirements to run for Congress and to be elected president and to require residency within the FSM to be eligible to run for Congress.
Mr.
Yes, Delegate Posse.
We have heard President and Chairman Bayan elaborating on this proposal with quite a number of honorable delegates who support this proposal. I move that we vote on this particular proposal. Thank you.
Mr. President, for recess, please.
Thank you, Delegate Posse. I call for a short recess. back to session. Yes,
Mr. President,
we have a motion to pass proposal 04-11. And Mr. Delegate Ando.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt my proposal to the proposed amendment. My amendment to the proposed amendment.
Okay, Delegate Kando, I think you mean there is copy of your proposed amendment to the main committee proposal, or yes, is hereby distributed, therefore could be considered. Any second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the proposed amendment to the committee proposal number 04-11 as proposed by Delegate Kando be adopted. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Kando? Yes. Yeah, Delegate Naich, we are now discussing the proposed amendment.
yes, thank you, Mr. President. If that copy of Delegate Kando's amendment can be shared with those of us joining you virtually.
It's the other one. No, this. Yeah, okay.
Short recess.
Okay, I declare short recess. Okay, you have the copies of, yes, this proposed amendment to the committee proposal as offered by Delegate Kando. We're now back to session. We're going to short recess. We have a proposed amendment to the committee proposal number 04-11 as offered by Delegate Canto. And if Delegate Canto wish to further elaborate, otherwise we can present. That motion was made and it was seconded that the said amendment be adopted as part of the main committee proposal number 04-11. If no, yes, that is it? So that is the proposed amendment to the committee proposal number 04-11 as offered by Delegate Kondo and was seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, Chairman Albert.
My question will be pretty brief, but I think it goes back to one of the proposals that we passed the only proposal we passed from the Committee on Civil Liberties, which is dual citizenship. One of the main concerns when we did our public hearing came from the citizens when they were having concerns where we're having all these citizens in the U.S. or elsewhere, and under our existing law, they'd be eligible to vote even though they don't reside in the FSM. So one of the proposed changes that some of us tried to put in was to incorporate something like this, a residency requirement. Unfortunately, it didn't go through, mainly because we were thinking about the states as well. But I think this proposal is a really good one. Even though I'm not committed to passing the proposal itself, I like the amendment. I think the amendment is really good because it protects those citizens that are here. We're always having concerns where we have people who are from our islands, but they're residing in the U.S. or elsewhere, and they get elected because they have family and connections. But then they have to bypass this. So if we put this in, I believe it will address the concerns that those citizens who did not support citizenship prior allow them to have the reason to vote for it. So I fully support the amendment. Now, when it comes to the proposal itself, I will have to talk with my delegation, but thank you for introducing. Thank you.
Chairman Albert. Yes.
I move for the previous question.
It's been moved and seconded that we stop debate. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. So we stop debate. For report on the proposed amendment, I hereby declare short recess. Session. We will have vote since it was closed debate was seconded. Now we are back to the main motion to adopt the proposed amendment to committee proposal number 04-11 as offered by Delegate Kondo. It is on the board. All those in favor of the proposed amendment by Delegate Kondo, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The proposed amendment as offered by Delegate Kondo passed. So we're now back to the main motion and then to adopt, to pass said committee proposal number 04-11, CD1 on first reading. Okay, if no other discussion. Now we we can vote by roll call. Okay, Chief Clerk, call the roll. Before we take the, yes, short recess.
So before we do that,
So, call back our session to order. Now, we have to vote on the, uncommitted proposal number 04-11 CD1. So, 04-11 CD1. Okay. Roll call. Call the roll.
Delegate Alford,
Amen.
Delegate Arnold, Delegate Asher, Delegate Fossey,
Yes.
Delegate Cantero,
Amen.
Delegate Chur,
Yes.
Delegate Fritz,
Yes.
Delegate Ashukuchi.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice President Isananka Nariarte,
Aye.
Delegate Canto,
Yes.
Delegate Dewey,
Yes.
Delegate Martin, Delegate Mori,
Yes.
Delegate Nabayan,
Yes.
Delegate Knight,
No,
Delegate Paulsus,
Yes.
Delegate Briston, Delegate Simon, Delegate
Yes.
Delegate Segra,
Yes.
Delegate Susaya, Delegate Prakasi, Floor Leader Gentleman,
Yes.
President Kilian,
Yes.
Mr. President, we have a total of 19 yeses or in favor and 1 against.
Thank you. Therefore, the said committee proposal number 04-11 CD1 passed on first reading. Thank you. Moving on, Chief Clerk, on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now have committee proposal number 4-12, which is attached to standing committee report number 4-16 from your Committee on Government Structure and Functions for first reading. Committee proposal number 4-12 is to amend Article 9, Section 8 of the Constitution of the Federated States of Micronesia to increase the number of at-large members of Congress.
Mr. Floor Leader?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move that we pass proposal 4-12 on the first reading.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that committee proposal number 04-12 be passed on first reading. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Yes, Delegate Posse.
I do have an amendment to the proposed amendment. I believe the copies of my amendment has been distributed to all the honorable delegates to consider it. Thank you, Mr. President.
I move for a short recess. Okay, we're now back to session. We're on committee proposal number 04-12, and there was an attempt by Delegate Posse to amend the said proposal, copies of which were originally distributed, but we discuss later. But yes, committee Delegate Posse, you guys defer your amendment to later on second reading.
Mr. President, I don't think it was seconded.
So since it wasn't seconded, we just move on, but you had mentioned your interest to make an amendment to the said committee proposal.
I would make that amendment during second reading, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Yes, Mr. Coordinator.
The previous question.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we stop debate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So we stop debate. Let's vote on the main motion for the passage of committee proposal number 04-12 on first reading. Passage on first reading. They require roll call. Chief Clerk, call the roll.
Delegate Albert. Delegate Albert. Delegate Arnold. Delegate Asher. Delegate Fossey.
Yes.
Delegate Cantero. Delegate Cantero. Delegate Chur.
No.
Delegate Fritz.
No.
Delegate Ashiguchi. Vice President Isananka Neriarte.
No.
Delegate Canto.
No.
Delegate Louis. Delegate Louis. Delegate Martin.
No.
Delegate Mori. Delegate Nabayan.
No.
Delegate Naich.
No.
Delegate Falsis. Delegate Falsis. Delegate Riston. Delegate Riston.
Yes.
Delegate Simon. Delegate Samuel. Delegate Samuel. Delegate Segra. Delegate Segra. Delegate Susaya. Delegate Takasi. Or Leader Yetelman.
No.
President Kilian.
Conflict of interest.
President Kilian.
No.
Mr. President, we have a total of 9 yeses and 10 noes.
Thank you. Therefore, the vote on that said committee proposal number 04-11, fortunately, it didn't pass. Thank you. Moving on. Chief Clerk.
Mr. President, point of clarification.
Yes.
What is your ruling on that?
Did not pass first reading. Didn't have the enough required votes for 16 on first reading. Fortunately, he said, yeah. So moving on, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next committee proposal under first reading is on committee proposal number 4-13, which is attached to committee report number 4-17 from your Committee on Public Finance and Revenue. Committee proposal 4-13 is to amend Article 9, Section 2, subsection M of the Constitution of the Federated States of Micronesia to provide that net revenue derived from fishing are shared with the states.
President,
Mr. Florida.
I move that we pass committee proposal 4-13 as on first reading.
Second.
been moved and seconded that the said committee proposal number 04-13 be passed on first reading. Discussion?
I move for previous question, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion for closed debate. All those in favor say aye.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Before I make the ruling, let's have a short recess. Session. We're in the recess. We're ready to vote on the motion for the passage of committee proposal number 04-13. So, Chief Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. President,
Oh, sorry. Can you please first read the clarity of the committee proposal? Can you read the committee proposal 04-13 in its entirety? Yeah, the required votes for passage on first reading. Huh? Already 16. No.
Recess.
Short recess declared. So now we're back to session. We're now on committee proposal number 04-13. We're ready to take voting on that on first reading. And Chief Clerk, you're going to read it out first and then proceed. Yes. Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee proposal number 4-13 is for first reading. This is a proposal to amend Article 9, Section 2M of the Constitution of the Federated States of Micronesia to provide that net revenue derived from fishing are shared with the states.
Before we vote, for the record, the required votes for passage of this said proposal, committee proposal number 04-13, a minimum of 16 votes, affirmative votes for passage. Okay, Chief Clerk, call the roll.
Delegate Alpert,
yes.
Delegate Arnold, Delegate Arnold, Delegate, Delegate Arnold, Delegate Asher, Delegate Asher, Delegate Posse,
Yes.
Delegate Cantero,
Yes.
Delegate Chur,
Yes.
Delegate Fritz, Delegate Ashikuchi, Vice President Isananca Neriarte,
Yes.
Delegate Canto,
Yes.
Delegate Louis,
On behalf of the people of election district number 1, yes.
Delegate Martin,
Yes.
Delegate Mori,
Yes.
Delegate Nabayan,
Yes.
Delegate Knight,
Yes.
Delegate Paulsis,
Yes.
Delegate Rifson,
Yes.
Delegate Simon,
Yes.
Delegate Samo,
Yes.
Delegate Sigra,
Yes.
Delegate Susaya, Delegate Takasi, Lord Leader Yatulman,
Yes.
President Kilian.
Yes.
Mr. President, we have 21 affirmative votes.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Therefore, the said committee proposal is passed on first reading. Thank you. Moving on, Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. As of now, we do not have any more proposals for first reading.
All right. Moving on, next item, the order.
Thank you, Mr. President. For item number 9, second reading of committee proposals, none at the moment, Mr. President.
Thank you. Move on, item 9 and 10. Final reading of proposed constitutional amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the said item, we have the first one, which is on committee proposal number 4-06 CCD2, which is attached to standing committee report number 4-18 for final reading.
Mr. Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we pass committee proposal 4-06 on final reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that committee proposal number 04-06 be passed on final reading. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Yes.
just to clarify that the proposal is 4-06 CCD1, and I move for the previous question.
Second. Mr. President,
Yes,
I think it's supposed to be
CC2.
Yes.
Yes, CC2.
CCD2, my apologies.
Yes, thank you. That clarification for committee proposal number 04-06 CCD2. Okay? Any other discussion?
Move for the previous question, Mr. President.
It's been moved and seconded that we close debate. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. So we close debate. So we can now move on and vote on the said committee proposal 04-06 on final reading. Then it's going to be voted by delegation. Majority vote of that will be 3 out of 4 will be passage result. So, Chief Clerk, call the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the state of Chuk, Chairperson Mori. For the state of Chuk, Chairperson Mori.
Hello. Hello.
Houses.
So I vote yes.
For the state of Pohnpei, Chairman or Vice President is Ananka Nariarte.
Same. Vote.
Pohnpei votes yes.
Simon. Thank you. For the state of Yap, Chairman Nabayan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. President, we have all 4 states voting in favor of the said proposal under final reading.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Therefore, the said committee proposal number 04-06 CD2 has final reading. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Okay, moving on. Yes. Nabayan.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make just a clarification. There was a report that came out of style on this proposal that we had just adopted. Yeah. So I looked at the addendum and it did not, the addendum provided the historical context of the proposal, and that section of the Constitution, but did not actually address any of the work that Style and Original did on the proposal. And so the way I'm looking at it is that the substance of that addendum should have actually been addressed during the meeting of the Committee on Public Finance and Revenue, because that's where the substantive deliberation of the proposal took place, not in Style. But the addendum actually spoke to the substantive issues in the proposal itself. So it's out of place, it's ultra-wise, and it came outside the preview of what Style is supposed to do. So I just want to go on the record to state that it does not, it's not part of the legislative history as to the substantive discussion of the proposal. So because there's some inconsistencies between the addendum and what the Committee on Public Finance and Revenue adopted with respect to the substantive matter of the proposal. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Thank you. Yes.
I echoed the position of Chairman Nabian, and I wish we had had the opportunity to review this and discuss this in committee. And I hope it doesn't happen in the other committees too, that something come in at Style and just come in and styled us out here. Thank you.
Thank you. As we know, the mandates of each of the committees, especially pertaining to Committee on Styles and Arrangement, is basically to see what comes out of the committees in terms of substantive discussion. Of course, they're that charged with the responsibility of making sure that everything is consistent and wording and so forth. So all those comments, previous comments are relevant. Thank you. Yes, Chairman Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think my two colleagues are correct. There was another working paper that was attached to the standing committee report, which was prepared and was adopted. The committee should have been made communication by member communication, so it just goes in for the record. But I think what Chairman Nabayan is trying to do is to make sure that when they construe this particular proposal as a pass, that it should not be part of the consideration, because this finance committee did not recommend this. Unfortunately, it came in a different way. So that's what it is.
Thank you. So, please take into account what we noted. So we're still, we're moving on. Item 11. Sorry. Yes, I think we're services. back to session. So we have committee proposal, consider committee proposal 04-09CT1 for final reading. Mr. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we pass committee proposal 4-09, CCD1, final reading.
Second. Okay, being moved and seconded that the committee proposal number 04-09CD1 be passed on final reading. Discussion. If none, there will be a roll call by delegation. The minimum required voting to pass is 3 out of 4 by delegation. Okay, Chief Clerk, call the delegation members.
Mr. President, for the state of Chu, Chairperson Mori.
Yes.
For the state of Koshai, Chairman Pauses.
Yes.
Thank you. For the state of Pontay, Chairman or Vice President Isonanka Nariarte.
Zip, vote, yes.
Simon.
Bombay votes yes.
Thank you. For the state of Yap, Chairman Nabayan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. President, all 4 states voted for the said proposal under final reading.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Therefore, the said committee proposal passed on final reading. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Item 11, consideration of resolutions.
None, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 12, introduction and referral of delegate proposals and resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do not have a referral sheet.
Thank you. Item 13, special orders.
None at the moment, Mr. President.
Thank you. Miscellaneous business. Does anyone, any delegates, has any miscellaneous business to share this afternoon or this morning? Sorry, this afternoon. For miscellaneous business. Delegate Cantero.
Thank you. Mr. President, again, just give me a chance to recap, just to put things into perspective. Right now, the proposals that will be on the referendum, one has to do with the threshold, one to citizenship, one exclusivity of land to Bombay State, state jurisdiction, ports, one the seabed, one the IP. Those are the ones. Override, the override as well. So those are 6 that are confirmed as of this moment that will be on the ballot. I think that's also very, that's still coming up. Yeah. So that as of right now, those are very healthy agenda for referendum. That's my view. Just thought to recap where we are, put things into perspective. But thank you, Mr. President, for leadership. I think we did a lot today. The chairman's much in the point made by Chairman Albert for people to understand. I think as we go along, they're witnessing it, and I think I would recommend that towards the end of our process, we do a recap live and describe all the proposals that we have agreed to. Read them out so it's clear to all of them. I think that's what Mr. Chairman Albert was alluding to. But thank you so much from me. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Mr. President, point of clarification.
Chairman Pauses.
I understand that the FIDO hasn't been dealt with. Not done yet. Passed?
Yes, all that was passed, but as pointed out by Delegate Cantero, it is very true that we have disposed of several measures that are very important for our nation, and we look forward to our finalization of our proposals the next few days. Okay, still on miscellaneous business? Any other miscellaneous business? If none, announcements by any of the chair, standing committee chairman, chairpersons? Any announcement?
President?
Yes,
President?
Chairperson Mori, delegation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. If you may, I would like to ask that I be given a few minutes. I'd like to make a short announcement on behalf of your troop delegation and our fellow delegates from our sister state to the 4th FSM Constitutional Convention. Mr. President, please accept our expression of sympathy and condolence on the passing of your father, Mr. Peter Killian. There are few persons on earth who make wonderful impact as much as a loving father does. Your father is a well-respected and loving man, and his legacy lives on in you. Please accept our heartfelt condolence. Tirawam MFA President Redley Killian, Toria Family Medicine, Kisei Fituk Norawe Fanson Netipeta, Metubun, Ogusarat Activist Kiriso Tabun. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Chair Mori, and I gladly accept the condolence. Thank you very much.
Sir, if I think it's appropriate, highly appropriate for the Bombay delegation here present today on behalf of ISO, Takubran ISO, we will submit our deepest condolences to you for that loss and sympathy to you, Mr. President.
Thank you again, Delegate Cantero and the Pompe delegation, ISO and the others for the kind words of condolence. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Chairman Tabayan.
Thank you, Mr. President, and on behalf of the YAP State Delegation, we express our sincere condolences to you and the family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Nabayan, and appreciate it very much, like the others.
Mr. President,
Thank you. Chairman Parsis.
the FAI delegation wishes to share and associate ourselves with the statements as made by the other delegation. Our condolences to you and the family of the untimely passing of your father. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Parsis and members of the CUSAI delegation, and likewise to all the delegates for the kind words of condolence to our families for the untimely passing of our father. Thank you very much, all. Any other announcements? If none, Super Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we stand in recess until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we stand in recess until tomorrow, 10 o'clock. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Therefore, our session is recessed until tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you.